Good morning. The emitter class has been moved from able to fibers and given a bit of an overhaul. As the primary inter-fiber communications method, it holds more prominence in release 2 of fibers. On the face of it, an emitter has one function: accept listeners and call them when a fire method is called. A listener function is called when the emitter is fired. It is given a reference to the emitter in case it is called out of context. If it returns false, it is removed from the list and never called again. An emitter is cached and disposable. In practice, a usage statement is unlikely in an asynchronous world, but it's good for testing. Problem here is the listen emitterAction. Whenever a function is turned into a delegate, an anonymous class is created, exercising the garbage collector. Any form of delegate acts the same: lambdas, inner functions, instance of statics members, anything. Unless you are absolutely certain the listen will not be called often, it is best to cache the delegate. The anonymous class is only instantiated once when the class is first loaded, then reused as needed. Emitter fired instance is static because otherwise we would have to create a listener on the constructor. I often do it that way. This anonymous class is only instantiated once and then reused. Otherwise, as you can see, the class is extremely similar. That works if the data is class-centric. But what if it needs to be specific to the method? Fortunately, an emitter can hold context. By making this context disposable, it is possible to cache and reuse it rather than relying on the garbage collector. When an emitter is disposed of, its context is also return the data object to the cache for reuse. I fear this is repetitive code, but it is for demonstration, not production. There are many situations where an emitter is going to be used once and then discarded. The only catch is the data has been returned to the recycle bin. That is not a problem if you use the context data in the listener and not over frames. If you insist on using it over frames, take a copy.